Hello, my lovely sunshiners, and welcome back. I'm Cheryl, the owner of Your Time to Shine Therapy. And today we're going to explore cognitive behavioural therapy techniques for managing anxiety. I'm very passionate about CBT because it's something that I've trained in and done different versions to help people to overcome their anxiety and overwhelm. And CBT is a highly effective method of changing negative thought patterns and behaviours. So let's dive into some practical exercises you can try, and feel free to ask questions and share your experiences in the comments. I love CBT because it can work for a variety of things, and it can also work very, very quickly. And CBT is based on, excuse me, it's based on the idea that our thoughts, feelings, and behaviours are all interconnected. So by changing our negative thought patterns, we can alter our emotions and behaviours. And one of the core techniques in CBT is identifying and challenging negative thoughts. So I just want to share an example with you, really, and how CBT can help with this. So imagine you have got a massive presentation coming up at work and you think, I'm going to mess it up. Now, this thought can lead to feelings of anxiety and behaviours like procrastination or avoidance. To challenge this thought, you ask yourself, what evidence do I have that I'll mess it up? What evidence do I have that I'll do well? And, thinking about those two questions, I want you to write down what evidence you have for it and what evidence you have against the thought, and then try and come up with a more positive, balanced perspective, such as I've prepared well for this presentation and I'll do my best. Because a lot of the time when we're scared of something and our little fear monster creeps in, it will come with it. It'll come along, a little fear, boop, 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 a bit like one of those little ghosts out of a Pac-Man. So it'll come along, boop, 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 boop. And with it, it'll have a whole host of ideas and reasons and excuses that you can use so that you won't do that presentation. And it'll tell you things like, you're going to mess it up. You've not prepared enough for it. You don't even know what you're talking about. Everybody's going to laugh at you. You're going to just embarrass yourself. And as it's going along, and it's chomping, boop, 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 boop. And then here's your Pac-Man that's coming along. This is your negativity. Boop, 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 boop. And this is your positive Pac-Man. And he's coming along, chomping up all these negatives that this ghost is saying. And we try so hard to try and find the positives in it, but it's about reframing the things that we're saying to ourselves. So turning the things around that we're saying and not always going to the negative, because once fear decides that it's going to rear its ugly head and it comes along with it, boop, 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 this thing starts to grow and get bigger, so it becomes a bigger monster that's coming along and spitting out all its venom, and this starts to shrink down and become something really, really tiny, so that this then overpowers this one. But what we need to do is make this the big chomper so that it overpowers all this that's being spurted out by this little Pac-Man ghost. So before you go in there and you're doing your presentation, I want you to be thinking about things like, I've learned all the stuff. I know this inside out. I'm not going to make a fool of myself. I am going to make myself proud. All these kinds of positives that I want you to keep playing over and over in your mind. And don't let this take over this. Another useful CBT technique is cognitive restructuring, and this involves identifying distorted thinking patterns, such as all or nothing thinking, overgeneralization, or catastrophizing, and replacing them with more realistic and balanced thoughts. So, for example, instead of thinking, I will always fail, try thinking, sometimes I succeed and sometimes I don't, but I'll always learn something valuable. Because like, with all or nothing thinking, it's black and white thinking. So it's either this way or that way. And there's no sort of grey area. And sometimes you need them grey areas to be able to rationalize what it is you're thinking about. Or you make a sweeping generalization like, like taking, for example, the scenario that we've just been talking about, then, if you overgeneralize it, then you'd be thinking, everybody in the room is just going to be thinking that I'm an idiot. And that's you overgeneralizing that's what all them people will be thinking. But at the end of the day, you're not a mind reader and you don't know what them people are going to be thinking. The other thing that people do quite a lot is make a mountain out of a molehill. So we'll make a big catastrophe out of it and we'll build this big, massive molehill. And really, we don't really need to be doing that because it's not, or is almost never as bad as what you think it's going to be. So having more realistic thoughts about it and more balanced thoughts is better than us trying to mind read, trying to overgeneralize, and trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. Behavioural activation is another important aspect of CBT. Now, this involves engaging in activities that you find enjoyable and meaningful, even when you don't feel like it. This can help improve your mood and reduce anxiety. Make a list of activities that you enjoy and try to incorporate them into your routine. It could be something small like, I enjoy having a glass of orange juice in the morning. Something like that. And, you don't do it because someone might have said to you, oh, orange juice makes you fat. Things like that stop you from doing things that you want to do. So think about things that you enjoy doing and that you find really meaningful, that you have put off maybe because something in the back of your mind saying, oh, you shouldn't really be doing that, or why are you doing that? Oh, you can't go to a keep fit class because you look big, like a big fat elephant in a leotard. Do you know what I mean? These sort of things, but go and do it anyway, because that will give you a massive boost and it'll help to reduce your anxiety levels. Another thing that's quite good is exposure therapy. And this is a really powerful CBT technique. And this involves gradually exposing yourself to the situations that cause you anxiety. It has to be done in a controlled and safe way. And over time, it can help reduce the fear associated with these situations. So start with less anxiety-provoking situations and gradually work your way up to more challenging ones. I'm terrified of edges. I think it's part of a condition like vertigo, but I sometimes have the feeling when I'm stood on an edge that I could just fly. And I know I can't do that. I don't have wings and I couldn't fly. But that's the feeling that goes through my mind. And what I started to do was try and expose myself to places, heights and stuff where they have barriers on. And although it terrifies me, I will do it. I will go and I'll, like I went up to the top of Blackpool Tower and I stood on the glass floor, which made my anxiety levels so high. And then looking through the barriers at the top of the tower, That was really scary too, but I did it because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And the sense of achievement that I felt after I'd done that was enormous. And although I'm still terrified of edges, I can now do, like if we go, I like looking around old castles and things like that. And obviously castle walls are always very tall, and quite often don't have barriers on them. So it's now enabled me to be able to go and visit castles and go up onto the higher walls because I know that I'm safe and that nothing's going to happen to me, So doing a little bit of exposure can be a really good thing. I want to do a quick exercise with you. So I want you to think of a recent situation that made you anxious. Now, please don't do this if it's going to make you anxious and then your anxiety is going to be with you all day. But this is an exercise that will help with your anxiety. So think of a situation that makes you anxious and then write down the negative thoughts you have about it. Now challenge those thoughts by writing down evidence for and against them, and then finally come up with a more balanced perspective and share your experiences in the comments. It's only a small exercise, but it's really quite a powerful one. And, it can make you see and rationalize what it is that's bothering you. And, sometimes when we see them down on paper, you can see that they're not as bad as what you think they are. So I hope you found these CBT techniques helpful. Practice them regularly to see the best results. And remember, changing your thought patterns takes time and effort, but it's worth it. And if you are really struggling and you do want some proper help with therapy, you can always get in touch with me and I can find space in my diary to fit you in. So join me next time when we discuss anxiety and sleep. And don't forget to like, share and follow for more updates. Take care and stay positive. Bye for now.